Hello everyone, thank you for having me. I'm just going to try and see if I can make this level up with me. Thank you. Thanks for that, thank you. I'll be reading two pieces. One is a poem about 3 generations of women talking to each other and trying to build a better future. And the second is a very short story. I know it's not a poem, but I have explicit permission to share it with you today. The first poem is called Generación. Niña duerme, niña despierta. Un nuevo mundo te espera. Mi vida, are you awake? Tell me, did you make it? Mami duerme, madre despierta. You always told me, mija, sigue adelante, daughter, grow where you are sown. In the sun's shadow, I wither inside my own. Abuelita, duerme, abuela, despierta. ¿Cuál fue el mundo que viviste? Grandmother, are you awake? Tell me, how did you make it? What sun, what watermouth, what mother love blessed your spring? Granddaughter, mija, yesterday we laughed. Yesterday we prayed. While our daughters laughed, we asked Pachamama, can this last forever? Yesterday, we told the truth. We disowned the lies. Defying destiny we were. Creating our own we were. Amiga, duerme. Amiga, despierta. My sister, are you awake? Tell me, do you remember me? Recuerda que aún sigo aquí. Thank you. So this is a short story about how my parents met and how I ended up coming to Australia. Amid the chaotic hum of New York City, my father had a strange encounter that would ultimately change the course of his life. It was a hot day in the city. My father was working on 47th Street, to the jeweler's shop where he worked. He noticed an older woman struggling to gather her groceries on a steep sidewalk. My father knelt beside her and began to gather her fallen apples, oranges, and canned foods. In return for his gesture, she offered my father a glimpse into his future, a rare and unprecedented gift for what my father perceived to be a natural and logical act of kindness on his part. She briefly stared into my father's eyes, using her weathered hands to uncurl his fingers. She delivered the following prophecy. This place, this city, is not your final destination. Her black-rimmed eyes met my father's expression of surprise and disbelief. She raised her eyebrows and continued to speak. Your heart, rather than circumstance, will decide your fate. Very soon, you will meet a foreigner from far, far away. She will resonate, firstly, because of her name, also your mother's name, a name that is rare and therefore sufficient proof of the truths I am going to tell you. She paused and began to chuckle as my father subconsciously pulled his hand away, weary and fearful of her words. Are my words too generous? She mused, seemingly reading his mind. Am I overstaying my welcome? My father was a ripped jeans-wearing Bronx-bound Latino with a cigarette perpetually behind his ear. He wore his confidence like the bronze diamond-studded lion that dangled around his neck. The shock of being told his fate made him stiffen his back, puff his chest, and shake his thick curly mane of dark hair over his pale shoulders. He bent his knees as if assuming a fighting stance, leaning into his back leg, tilting his chin upwards and folding his arms. Could she be telling the truth? As the son of a provincial witch doctor in Ecuador, he didn't take the woman's words lightly, yet his steadfast belief in fate, that nothing happens by chance, seemed to ring hollow. Tears sprang to his eyes at the memory of his uncle transferring him his life savings on his 19th birthday, telling him that he would now travel to the land of dreams and vivir sin pobreza. live with less money and with less worry and more work. My destiny is here, Senora, my father curtly replied, quashing his emotions with a stiff smile. With a hint of innocent curiosity, the woman divulged the rest of her wisdom. She will give you daughters, only daughters. Together you will suffer greatly, but the trials you will endure will teach you to love her greater still. And luckily, and for this I am glad, in the end you will be compensated for this suffering. I can see the gold waiting for you. New York City, 1987. When my parents met for the first time, my mother was dressed in a mini Barbie pink dress and thick triangular shoulder pads. A cropped electric blue blazer hugged her waist. Her hair, a delicately sculptured afternoon cloud, cushioned a red-lipped daylight moon. My father was entranced. After minutes of studying a crisp map of New York City highlights, my mother looked up, and at that moment catching my father's eyes. She smiled to herself, trusting her instincts. Buenas tardes, my mother began. ¿Me podría ayudar? Good afternoon. Could you help me? I'm not sure how to get to the Statue of Liberty. Sabe, señora, si le gusta, le acompaño. Mi nombre es Edgar, a sus órdenes. My father eagerly replied, You know what, miss? If you think it's okay, I can take you there. My name is Edgar, at your service. My mother shrugged to express a wide smile. ¿Por qué no? Why not, she replied, briefly looking down at her flashy pumps. Mi nombre es Eugenia, gracias. My name is Eugenia, thank you. Over 25 years later, my father, an aging face of multicultural southwest Sydney, never tires of telling this improbable love story to anyone willing to listen. He never skimps on the detail, and his energy is never lacking. I am often by his side as he recounts, and I enjoy it every time. His black mane is now peppered with grey, and his speech is full of Australian colloquialisms and more familiar Ecuadorian slang. His quirks track the lifespan of an accidental migrant who has made Australia his own. He doesn't regret coming here, abandoning his dreams of a better life in the United States and distancing himself further from his family in Ecuador wasn't easy. But as my father often concludes, how can I live without her? She gave me my daughters, my gold. Thank you.